Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about that big leak. Insomniac Games had a data breach, and they were being held hostage for millions of dollars.
Which I don't agree with.
That's not cool. But they had some hackers leak about 2 terabytes of information, including information on upcoming Marvel games, including the Wolverine game, and also a bunch of employee data like social security numbers, and, contracts.
See, that's bull.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. But one of the things that was leaked in this is that Spider-Man 2 for PS5 is a $300 million game. It's a $300 million game. $300 million. That's more than Marvel spends on a lot of their movies.
Yeah, and we saw how those movies look.
Yeah. Shockingly, the game looks better than some of the movies. But we'll talk about this. But now
$300 million.
$300 million.
Probably because they know people will buy the games before they go to the movies.
Oh, maybe. They sold a lot of copies. But look, even selling a bunch of copies of these AAA titles, $300 million is not sustainable. And this is why all these big studios, people are like, hey, the studio just had a big hit. Why are they laying people off? Why is Epic Games laying people off? They should be laying people off. They make Fortnite. Well, stuff costs a lot of money. Plus, they're also trying to make profit.
If the rumor's true, then, they're just using the same game anyway, just putting new people in it. So
yeah,
saves them some money too, if the rumors are true.
If the rumors are true, yeah. The word on the street, and I haven't seen it for myself, but apparently Wolverine there's a lot of questionable decisions, but it's basically just a reskin of Spider-Man. And also, he needs med packs or something for some reason, even though he's freaking Wolverine. I have no idea. I haven't delved into the spoilers that much. We're going to talk about how this affects the video game journalism industry, the community, the beloved journalist community, because now they're trying to say, hey, we're not actually part of the video game industry.
But weren't they saying before that they were
essential?
Like, yes, that they shouldn't be let go of, and gaming blogs were necessary, and they're necessary to tell you what's good and what's not.
Yeah, they're necessary. They're a necessary part of the industry. So
until
now,
they get in trouble.
Till they get in trouble. So now what's going on is Insomniac, I guess, has been calling out video game journos for spreading the leak. So, the hackers effectively got rewarded because now the leaks are all over the place, and game journos were helping spread those, and Insomniac's like, what the hell? And so now they're all like, well, we're not actually part of the video game industry.
Side, if it turned out that it was just reskin and they didn't actually build a game that was decent, then you know what? I'm sorry. If it sucked and people got mad about it, then maybe you should have done better. There's that. I mean, I'm not condoning the holding it hostage and leaking it. I'm not saying
no,
at all. But what I'm saying is, maybe there's a reason people are like, what? I don't know.
$300 million. How much of that are you spending on cybersecurity? Is what I want to know.
You need to up that spend.
Yeah, because it sounds like they got like somebody into somebody's hard drive or something. It's like,
that's
holy
awful.
crap.
I mean, I'm more upset about the fact that they leak people's social security numbers and stuff like that.
That's not cool. So let's talk about this before you get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to shopclownfish.com, pick up a copy of Crimson Wren, and previously on Clownfish TV, we have those books in stock now. They've been shipping for the last couple of weeks. Actually, Geeky has been packing them up and shipping them out. And there's no way to get one in time for Christmas. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen now. But you got about 3 weeks yet until we close this campaign again to pick up a copy. So thank you. I don't know where to start here. I would say let's talk about the leak in general. And then we'll talk about Insomniac reacting to it, and then we'll talk about how ridiculous the price was. Yeah, so this is coming from The Verge. The hack exposed millions of files, including personal employee information and a playable build of Wolverine, which people were not impressed with. So here's an update on Wolverine anyway.
This is what Insomniac put out.
This is what they put out. Thank you for the outpouring of compassion and unwavering support. It's deeply appreciated. We're both saddened and angered about the recent criminal cyber attack on our studio and the emotional toll it's taken on our dev team.
Oh, I'm sure.
We have focused inwardly for the last several days to support each other. We are aware that the stolen data includes personal information. That's
not cool.
The big one. It belongs to our employees, former employees, and independent contractors. It also includes early development details about Wolverine for PS5. We continue working quickly to determine what data was impacted. The experience has been extremely distressing for us. Yeah, no crap. I'm sure it would be. But beyond that, people were making fun of the game. So, they're kind of like...
Maybe they'll do a better game because
maybe,
of it, but,
maybe
it's a silver lining. I don't know.
They said, we want everyone to enjoy the game we develop as intended and as our players deserve. However, like Logan, Insomniac is resilient.
Do they need medical packs?
Do they need med packs? Marvel's Wolverine continues as planned. The game is in early production and will no doubt greatly evolve throughout the development, as do all our plans.
It's in early production now.
Yeah, so I think what's going on here is they're distressed about the data breach or whatever.
Well, yeah, I don't blame them. I'd be upset about that too.
They're probably distressed about the reaction to the leaks because people are like, "What the shit?" Like,
if that's what it is, it looks bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And this happened with Grand Theft Auto 6 too. But it was they won $2 million in Bitcoin, the hacker group, and when the ransom was not paid, which I agree, don't pay the ransom because that sets a precedent. Hackers disseminated the information that includes Insomniac internal business plans, budget information, in development assets for the studio's Wolverine game, and employee personal identifiable information. That
was too far.
Yeah,
it's all too far. But then when you're actually getting out personal employee information because they didn't give you $2 million, that's way too far.
So apparently, this came out, the budget for Spider-Man 2, which I don't think was supposed to be made public. This is the most eye-popping reveal, and this is Paul Tassi from Forbes. The most eye-popping reveal is that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 cost $300 million to make. An astonishing amount of money and triple the game's first budget.
From my understanding, people didn't really like the Spider-Man 2 game that much.
Not as much as the first one. A lot of people had issues with it. Some people thought it was the best thing ever. A lot of people had issues with it. Those figures combined with sales that have been reported mean that even as Sony's stated fastest selling exclusive ever, it has not broken even after a flood of initial sales. Not that it won't in time, but it raises serious questions about how much longer this can go on.
Well, if they aren't breaking even and now you're using this as a base for the next one, that kind of makes sense. They got to get their money back somehow.
This is interesting, though, because a lot of people think Spider-Man 1 was better. He said one point being made is, well, Spider-Man 2 is 3 times the cost of the first game. Are players even recognizing that extra investment? Yeah, he said it's bigger than the first game and perhaps a bit more expansive, but it has many elements being pulled from the first game in the spin-off, the Miles Morales game. So basically, the initial upfront cost was developing the engine for the first Spider-Man game.
They said the large portions of the city have been carried over, but it's 3 times the cost. How and why?
Yes. It allowed Insomniac to reach its first 90 Metascore and was well received by fans, but there's a certain point that budgets can get so high, none of it matters. That's just it. You can make, it's kind of like, some of the biggest flops of all time, right? They talk about like how much they made at the box office. It's not even that they underperform massively at the box office. It's that they didn't make enough money. Like the cost of the movie was so damn ridiculous that there was no, like Endgame even probably just, it was a $2 billion or something like that at the box office, but the word was it was like a $600 million movie.
To me, it sounds like a house. If you're in a neighborhood and the top house that sells in the neighborhood is like $200,000. We'll just use a round number. And your house, you paid $180,000 for it like years ago, but you want to put like a $50,000 build onto it. What point is that even going to make? Because even if you would do that and make it the best house in the block, it's not going to sell for more than $200,000. So why waste the money? Yeah. And that's kind of like what this reminds me of.
As my mom was, she used to tell me, cheap house, cheap neighbors.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, at that point, you knew you weren't going to recoup the cost.
Yeah, there's no way.
So what's the ceiling was here. You went past that. Yeah. That wasn't probably the smartest thing to do.
Unless you live in Florida, you can't build a multi-million-dollar mansion next to a trailer park. Mm-mm. Unless you live in Florida. But
I'm not sure that has anything to do with what I'm talking about, but okay.
No, but no, that's the thing. It's like, you're going to hit a ceiling on this. There are only so many players, and this was released for PS5 exclusively. So you're already capped by how many people have a PS5, so, and they said it could be the best. Every person who owns a PS5 could buy a copy of this game. And a lot of them probably did. And it still doesn't mean it's going to make its money back.
No.
And it's ridiculous. The same with movies too. Like you spend $300-400 million on a movie. How much money do you think you're actually going to make on this thing?
Well, then it would make sense that they're just going to reuse elements of it for another game because they have to find a way to recoup the cost.
That's probably what they're being told. They're probably being told like, hey, you spent $300 million on Spider-Man 2. Freaking Wolverine's going to be shooting webs out of his wrists. I'm sorry, because we're not giving you a whole bunch more to deal with. But you'd think, again, the cost would be like, okay, we're going to spend a couple $100 million up front, but then we can make Spider-Man games from now until the end of time and just add shit to it. But I don't know. It's ridiculous. Let's talk about gaming journos here.
Yeah, this is the funniest part about the whole thing.
Yeah, now they have spent years saying that they were an essential part of the video game industry.
They were the tastemakers. They're the ones that they're necessary to tell everybody what to buy.
Yeah, and this is the gamer. They were telling everybody not to buy Hogwarts Legacy, which, ironically enough, wound up being the highest selling game of the year when you count all platforms it was released for, right? But yeah, they told everybody, you can't buy this game. You can't like this developer. This is toxic. That's toxic, whatever. Now they're not part of the game industry because they're in trouble for spreading the leaks. So interesting, isn't it? How quickly that
we can do it because we're not part of that industry, even though we've got done telling you over and over that we were the industry.
Yeah, my job is dependent on the games industry, but I'm not part of it, says Andrew King at The Gamer. Which I would not write an article like this if I were you, and I'm going to tell you why. Because right now, video game journalists are in a heap of trouble. These websites are not performing. The ad revenue's not there. And if you're basically broadcasting that like, hey, yeah, the reason you kept us around is we were basically like, yeah, we're an essential part of the video game industry. So all these game publishers give us money to advertise on the site. Oh, you don't need us? Okay, bye. You're gone. Like I wouldn't broadcast that you're basically not necessary. Because what you're doing is what like every other video game fan does. You follow people you like on Twitter, you interact with them, you maybe ask them some questions, you play the games you like, you give opinions on. There are people on YouTube and Twitch and podcasters doing the same thing you're doing. Okay? So you're basically going to put yourself out of a job. I think it's stupid to be like, yeah, you don't really need me. I'm like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah, it's really dumb.
You know what? We really don't. So see ya. If you aren't a journalist, that may sound like a distinction without a meaningful difference that I'm dependent on the games industry, but I'm not part of it. So you're a parasite. If my job only exists because of the industry that creates games, doesn't that mean that I'm part of the industry or at least an appendage of it? No, you're a parasite. But if you care about the ideals journalism, this is pretentious as hell. If you care about the ideals journalism stands for and the objectives it seeks to accomplish.
See, that's the thing. Journalism is supposed to be objective, but now it's objectives they seek to accomplish. That you completely explained what's wrong with current day journalism in one sentence.
Like speaking truth to power.
Good job.
And informing the public. It should be clear why a view of the profession that ties it too closely to the field it covers isn't conducive to accomplishing those goals. Dude, you're not making a good case for them keeping you on. He's talking about the hack, and he said, no one thought the leak was good. The event divided games Twitter into two camps. It's a little more nuanced than this, but the division tend to have developers on one side and journalists on the other. Basically, the developers are like, don't spread the leaks, please. And the journalists are like, well, it's still news. I don't completely disagree with the journalists in this case.
I don't either.
But I think it's. I mean,
definitely don't spread the things about people's information, which they aren't.
Yeah. But I mean, you can report on the leaks. That is news. It's huge news. It's one of the biggest ransomware attacks in the video game industry ever. It might actually be the largest.
And if people are talking about it because it looks like dog shit, you're allowed. I mean, you can mention it because it does.
Well, what are you supposed to do?
If it does, I don't know. I haven't really been keeping up with it, but I'm just saying, if it looks like crap, it looks like crap.
Yeah, they said that you should ignore the content because the harm it does to Insomniac's employees through the attack. Journalists have argued that our job is to report on information that's newsworthy, and a huge company's plans for the next decade are, by definition, newsworthy.
That is true.
I don't disagree
I'll give
with
you that.
I just think it's funny that now they're trying to distance themselves. Like, oh, well, we have to be objective now because,
Well, again, they didn't say objective. They said, objectives. And I think that describes everything perfectly. They're no longer objective. They are just like, here's my outcome. Here's how I'm spinning it to reach that point. Objectives over objective. There's a definite difference.
So, they're talking. Okay, so they're basically just admitting the way that things work. Okay. They said this gets confused because we travel in the same circles, right? They said the public and members of both professions, they get it all mixed up for a few reasons. For one, gaming outlets are dependent on PR, which represents publishers and or developers reaching out with the code we need to write reviews, guides, and features on the games they represent. We could wait until after the game is released and buy a copy ourselves, but coverage coming a week or two after launch isn't a great arrangement for outlets or developers. So instead, they provide the game. We provide our honest coverage of the game. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
It's a symbiotic relationship. But to extend that metaphor, the two creatures in a symbiotic relationship don't become one organism simply because they rely on each other and exist in the same ecosystem. What? You are a parasite.
Again,
that is the organism you are.
That's a symbiotic relationship.
Like, look.
Well, not really symbiotic as a parasite, unless it's a certain type.
Kills the host.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I love this. The problem, here we go.
The problem is that everybody else is listening to them and not us.
Yes, the problem is that stream. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my God. 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 Okay. The other reason the lines have become increasingly blurred is the rise in games coverage by influencers.
Don't listen to them. Listen to us.
Though plenty of people still read reviews and news articles, a significant portion of the audience for games, news, and reviews is getting information through video content.
Because don't you know, if it's on a video, that clearly means that you don't have journalistic anything whatsoever, even though in our case that we actually did.
Yes.
And you used to be an editor for publications.
Yes, I've worked in.
And we've owned websites and have been editors for things.
I had started in newspapers. I worked on radio. I've done web development. We own.
But don't listen.
Wow,
don't listen to
us. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Anyone with a phone and internet connection can make that content. A Twitch streamer isn't given the same education on journalistic ethics as someone who graduated from journalism school.
Wait, if you paid money to graduate from journalism school, then that's sad because the whole for years newspapers and everything were dying. That would be colossally stupid. So you're trying to argue that they're not as educated as you, as smart as you, but yet you paid for journalism school?
Yes. So let me tell you a story, Sunshine. I have hired and fired people like you, and I never went to journalism school. My background.
You were in charge.
I was in charge.
And he was the editor.
I had a business background, sense, whatever you want to call it, intuition, spider sense. I was good at balancing business with content generation, creation, production. And that was more valuable to my employers.
Plus, you could do all the editor stuff, too.
Plus, I could do the editor's job, too. I was managing editor.
But you were smart enough not to pay for journalism school.
Journalism school.
Oh, my God. What a
like clown college.
Fucktard. Anyway.
Oh my God. The problem is that streamers, TikTokers, and YouTubers are performing a similar purpose for their viewers. They provide news on this sounds like he's trying to make a case for why they need to keep him. They provide news on a subject like a journalist or give their thoughts on a game like a critic, but they aren't being held to the same standards that someone in either of those roles would be at a media company.
Wait, you're telling us that the gamer has standards? That is news to all of us at this point in time.
That means that certain rules that a journalistic outlet might have in place to maintain distance between reporter and subject, like limitations on what free stuff it's okay to accept from a publisher, whether it's okay to cover a game, if they have a personal connection to the developer who worked on it.
Whoa. You're supposed to disclose that. So, and a lot of people, if you're the people that are on YouTube and stuff, if they're giving stuff, they have to disclose it too.
Yes, you do.
You're under the impression that if you know somebody or you're given something that you aren't required to disclose it, you are required to disclose it. So you are held to the similar standards. Meanwhile, a lot of the people that are covering this stuff go out and buy their own game or are given a copy maybe as like a demo copy, the same as you're given.
Isn't it against the journalistic code of ethics to give a decent game a 1 out of 10?
Yes.
Just because you don't like the IP that the game is based on. They literally gave, and I think it was a gamer. I'm pretty sure it was a gamer. They gave.
I don't remember.
Hogwarts Legacy at 1 out of 10.
Well, if it wasn't them, one of the game journalists that probably went to journalism college.
Clown college.
The
editor of The Gamer was the one who was really whacking the beehive about boycotting Hogwarts Legacy, which, congratulations, Stacy. It did.
Well, didn't she get gone?
I don't know. I don't know what happened to her. I know she was arguing with one of our reporters, but
Who also has a background in journalism.
who also
but,
has
you
a
know.
background in journalism. But what the fuck do we know? I've listened to a lot of video game podcasts over the years, and hosts and guests often have a wide range of industry or industry-adjacent jobs. YouTubers, journalists, Twitch streamers, independent critics, and developers are often sitting side by side during these discussions. There isn't anything inherently wrong with that, but it does lead to a collapse of the wall between the press and the industry. If the Insomniac leak has any positive outcome, I hope it can help journalists, developers, and content creators reassess where the lines are. A healthy games industry needs a healthy press, and a healthy press can't exist without the industry that reports on it.
So basically cut them out and just give it to us. But I'm also like, I'm really trying to understand what they're saying here because they're like double talking the entire time. That's what
Don't
you learn
fire
at
me, bro.
journalism's college, journalism school.
Journalism's college for people who can't journalism very well. It's called Chat GPT. Oh my God, they should have the University of Chat GPT. I think some people are going to get gone from the Gamer. It's owned by, I think, Gamers Group. And I've heard things about Gamers Group that they're not in a very good position financially. And I think we're going to have a lot of these video game journalists trying to justify their existence.
But they can't be fired. They went to journalism college.
I went to journalism. Can't fire me, bro. I'm a journalist. I'm better than them.
I learned ethics. They have none.
Bullshit.
But me and the gamer the gamer is just nothing but a bastion of ethnic integrity. And I'm sure it's ethnic integrity too, but it's ethical fully, and there's never anything questionable about the gamer ever.
But it was outlets like that. It wasn't the Gamer specifically. I think it was Kotaku and Polygon that started GG because of a lack of ethics. Right, lack of disclosure.
But they have ethics now, and everybody else that's doing this, they can work side by side, but they're not the same. And basically, you need to cut them out so that he may has a job. I mean, the real journalists.
Yeah, because what happened, or what has been happening, is that these game developers have been going to influencers because they have a larger captive audience, and they've been going to them with the codes and saying, "Hey, could you stream this game?
Well, people buy it and do stuff, and then they give their honest feedback."
Yeah.
If they're given the code and they're disclosing they were given the code, as you're supposed to,
yeah,
and you're giving honest feedback and you're showing people how the game plays, which they're actually able to show people how the game plays, not just talk about it in an article. How is that any different?
It used to be back in the day when we had zines and even the early days of like Electronic Gaming Monthly. It used to be that those guys went out and bought the game themselves, and then they gave
a lot of them do
review.
still.
A lot of them do, and I have more respect for somebody that maybe is a week or two late with a game review, that they paid their $60-$70 for the game, than whatever the hell is going on here. You know, this is ending, and I think they know it's ending, and it's the end of the year.
It doesn't help when you tell the game developers, F off, and then they don't let you have copies of games like Nintendo. Maybe it's because you done pissed everybody off.
Yeah. Well, I think, if E3 is not even sustainable anymore, that means the developers are just doing an end run. And plus, the money is going to run out here, too. They're laying lots of people off. They're not going to have that PR and marketing budget that they did.
Is he trying to make sure that he gets a copy of the Logan, the Wolverine game?
Maybe.
Here's the thing. It's like, if the gameplay is a copy of Spider-Man, it doesn't matter who you give a review copy to. They don't give you one. If it is that, it's not going to do well anyway.
No.
It's not going to be worth covering unless they fix it. I mean, Silver Line, they might look at it now and be like, "Oh, that didn't go well. We really need to fix this now."
Yeah, when it comes out in 5 years for the PlayStation 7,
yeah, I know, right?
But
I'm against people holding things for ransom. I'm against people especially personal information. That wasn't necessary.
No,
that's not cool.
For Bitcoin, come on, man, come on. We're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.